Welcome back to the show, listeners. As promised, we have got Mr. Hussain Hanif, who is a diversity and inclusion specialist at Cricket Victoria, and he is also community engagement specialist for Melbourne Renegades. He also contributes on other roles as well in terms of his achievement, which we would like to listen from his side itself. Welcome to the show, Has, on Radio Hanji.
Welcome. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much, Has. First of all, Happy New Year.
Thank you. It's been a great year so far in cricket circles, so it's been pretty good.
Yeah, Has, look, I think it's the first time for us to introduce you to our listener community. Could you please tell us about your role and the work you have done so far?
So my current role in Victoria as a diversity inclusion specialist. In that role, we try to engage multicultural, Indigenous, LGBTI, and kids and adults into cricket.
Okay. And what kind of achievements you have done so far in terms of your coaching career or in terms of your engagement specialist career, because so many communities like you have mentioned, like what kind of achievements you have done so far?
So, outside of cricket, I'm coach the Australian Intellectual Disability Cricket team. So, part of the Australian cricket setup as well. So, that allows me to coach. Obviously, every year we get an opportunity to go down to the Bupa Centre in Brisbane and be a part of the Australian squad. And just recently coached the Australian team to a series against England in Brisbane.
Okay, yeah, that's very interesting. Okay, now we will come back to the community engagement role which you have in terms of also with Melbourne Renegades. Of course, Renegades are not having a good season so far, but in terms of the engagement thing, especially with the Cricket Victoria and Melbourne Renegades, what's the potential you are looking at in terms of South Asian community?
Yeah, so we have a large population in the northwestern suburbs. The Renegades is split up in Victoria, and that's based in the northwest. And given our large population of South Asians in the northwestern suburbs, it's a great opportunity to connect. So you can have an Indian child or an Indian mum or an Indian dad who loves cricket. Yeah. And the Big Bash is obviously a baby brother, I guess, of the IPL team. So they connect through the short format, which is turn up 3 hours cricket, but also it's a sense of belonging as well for the actual community. So to be a part of something that is bigger than just the Australian team or supporting the Indian team itself is being part of the cricketing community and having an ownership of that through supporting the Renegades. And
what kind of programs you actually engage the communities from the Cricket Victoria or Melbourne Renegades side?
Yep. So we have community engagement. We have a few things. We have community ambassadors or community champions as well. Yeah. And they're people in the community who are, have the passion for the game, firstly. And then secondly, I guess the big one is an understanding of what's required. So having community champions is one for ticketing, for engagement, to tell us where festivals are and how we engage better. And then secondly, we have Melbourne Renegades Champions League, which is a community initiative that's been running for the last 6 years.
Yeah. 6 years? I thought it's 2.
Sorry?
Is it 6 years now?
It's the 6th year, yeah.
Oh, really?
So,
okay.
This is a country of origin was introduced 2 years now, but prior to that was a club-based model where community clubs were given opportunities in that sense. But at current point, we're going through a phase where we've had countries and going into a World Cup year next year, bigger opportunity to engage with the country. So this year we went back to the community clubs and try to engage. The key focus of that is obviously engagement to the Renegades, but also to find our next generation cricketers from these communities as well. So wearing your country's colours is a big onus, I guess, being involved in Melbourne. and it's a pathway to Premier Cricket. So to play for the Big Bash or play for the Victorian, you've got to be a part of the Premier Cricket program, and I think that's probably our success. We haven't found our next generation player playing in the Renegades as yet, but what we have had is a lot of those cricketers who have played Ranji cricket or Sri Lankan first class cricket or Bangladesh first class cricket, or even international, to then come to Melbourne and be a part of Premier Cricket setups. Yeah.
So when you say the Premier Cricket, say for example, Huss, I'm very new to Australia, but I got a kids, they are growing up, and I want them to be involved in a cricket. What is the journey like? Where they can engage first, and what will be their journey like? How they can get up to that level.
Yeah. So I guess in terms of local club cricket, so you could be a part of a Point Cook Cricket Club. Your local premier club would be Footscray. So you'd go through the pathway of playing early learning programs, which is our Woolworths Cricket Blast, to junior programs. So in that particular case, you'd play in the Western Region Junior Cricket Association. Then you have representative teams. And then from the representative teams allows you to put your name forward, I guess, into playing Premier Cricket. You're given an opportunity. Seldomly we do see less and less numbers of South Asians playing Premier Cricket, given the task of, training is a little bit harder or opportunities are not there. So hence why we've created this Melbourne Renegades Champions League to allow these coaches to see this talent as well. Because we may have a Harris Ralph who's playing for the Melbourne Stars at the moment, playing Premier Cricket in Tasmania, but given an opportunity, 10 wickets in 3 games, it tells you that they are there.
Yeah, true. Look, we do have a recognized name from New South Wales when it's coming to the South Asian community, like Jason Sangha or Tanveer Sangha or Sandhu is there as well. But looking at the Melbourne potential, do you think we will have a good number of upcoming players, those who can represent Victoria or even moving further like Australia as well?
Yeah. So what we found in the Melbourne Renegades Champions League is a talented South Asian, I guess, players that are there. What they weren't given was opportunities in Premier Cricket, and now they are. So we've got Premier Cricket has a program called the Super Slam, which is an equivalent of the Big Bash, but for Premier clubs. And we have a high proportion of players from South Asian backgrounds playing in that competition. So the key is that if we can see more players from South Asian pushing the door down in Premier Cricket, that means that we're doing our job. Essentially, players like Sangha and the Gurinder Sandhus and Paran Opals, they are there. They're playing cricket in New South Wales and they're pushing the door down as well. So what it does mean is that we shy away from sub-district cricket and other formats and associations and really push the door down in Premier Cricket.
And what kind of support programs are available? Let's talk about Cricket Victoria first. In terms of the kids or adults or the disabilities for different disabilities. What kind of support programs are available to engage the people?
Yeah, so Australia does it really well in recognising. So next week we've actually got the Cricket Australia Inclusion Championships, National Inclusion Championships, where every state in Australia puts in teams to come and they vie for a week-long competition. It's based in Geelong and it's been going for the last 3 years. What it is, it's the blind, the deaf and the intellectual disability come together for a week. They have a national championship just as the same as the men's, women's and age group teams play. From that, they select their team. So out of all the 3 categories, the blind, deaf and the intellectual disability, they all have Australian teams which are fully funded by Commonwealth Bank as well. So that allows them to, have a pathway. Where it starts though, once again, it starts in early learning programs which are based all around Victoria, where you can play if your son or daughter has an intellectual, is blind or deaf. They have an opportunity to play for Australia as well.
And in terms of, say, for example, engaging the families, we understand like Melbourne Renegades, they have theme-based games as well. Could you please tell us more about that so that, the families, those who want to enjoy the game together, they can engage in the coming games?
Yeah, I guess we haven't had the best start to the season, but in terms of the home games, like this Friday, we've got different membership packages that are available for the Renegades games. Do remember, I mean, we are coming off 7-0 at the moment in terms of win-loss ratio, but we are still the current champions, so in that sense. So a few wins will go astray and obviously lead us into the next season, but our neighbours, obviously the Melbourne Stars, are doing really well as well.
Yeah. Derby is coming.
As well. Yeah, so Friday night is a big one, obviously, with the live act and at Marvel Stadium, obviously, rain or shine, we've got an opportunity to close the roof. I guess the key is that you can play the game all you want, but having an access to actually, or having the ability to actually go to a game is something different. And packages obviously starting for kids at $10 and families at $20. So really affordable. But as I mentioned earlier, I think the big one is allowing you to actually see these players and great talent on display as well.
Yeah, true. Hus, look, thank you very much. You are doing, taking this opportunity in front of the listeners. They are listening. I would also like to appreciate the efforts you are putting in terms of engaging the communities, in terms of working on disabilities, which is a big thing, and representing Australia as an assistant coach. So salute to your work. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, and thank you to Radio Hanja. You're obviously a great supporter of cricket, and as I mentioned earlier, I think, if there is anything that is required in cricket, I'm happy to help out anyone in Victoria as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hus, for your time.
Thank you.
Bye. ਸੋ ਇਹ ਸੰਜੀ ਹੁਸੈਨ ਹਨੀਫ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਆਪਾਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ। ਬਹੁਤ ਅਸਿਸਟੈਂਟ ਕੋਚ ਹੋਣਾ ਡਿਸੇਬਿਲਿਟੀਜ਼ ਟੀਮ ਦਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਮੇਰੇ ਖਿਆਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਸ ਰੱਖਦਾ। ਔਰ ਸਾਊਥ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਉਸ ਲੈਵਲ ਤੱਕ ਪਹੁੰਚਣਾ, ਕ੍ਰਿਕਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੰਗੇਜ ਹੋਣਾ। ਔਰ ਹੱਸ ਦੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬੈਕਗਰਾਊਂਡ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਤੋਂ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਕ੍ਰਿਕਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੰਨੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਨਵੋਲਵਮੈਂਟ ਹੁੰਦੀ, ਬਟ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਮਿਹਨਤ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਲਗਨ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਗੇਮ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰਤੀ ਜੋ ਪਿਆਰ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਾਕਮਾਲ ਹੈ। ਔਰ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਮਿਹਨਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪ੍ਰਸ਼ੰਸਾ ਦੇ ਯੋਗ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਕਿਹਾ ਜਾ ਸਕਦਾ।